This is the Metal Queens podcast. I'm Steve Richards. On this episode of the Metal Queens podcast, Talia Hoit, hailing from Colorado, classically trained. For 5 years, Talia was the keyboardist and a songwriter for the band AnaDies. Currently, she is the lead singer, orchestrator, and co-songwriter for the symphonic metal band Beyond Forgiveness. They have a new album out. We'll talk about that coming up. She is also the keyboardist for the metal band OB NIXILIS, and we'll talk about that as well. In terms of her solo projects, her Oceans album was released last November, and she released a CD single for the song Beautiful from the Oceans album recently as well, which contains 9 special bonus tracks, too. I'm happy to have Talia Hoit join me here on the Metal Queens podcast. Welcome.
Oh, thank you so much. Thanks for having me. It's great.
So I mentioned you were classically trained. We can see the pianos behind you. How and what's the story behind this career in music for you?
I started piano when I was 5 years old, and it's just been something I love to do. And I ended up going to college to study classical piano, and then I guess decided not to have a career in music because it wasn't going to make any money. I was like, how am I going to survive? So I went and had a career in a different industry, but have always loved to make music and write music. And so I've done a lot with bands and writing songs and everything. It's never been my livelihood, but just more of a life passion, I guess.
Is that the goal, to make it your livelihood?
I would love to, because I just don't have the time and energy to do everything I want to do with it. So it's not so much a pursuit of money so much as just it's tiring to work a full-time career and try to do this. So someday it would be really awesome to be able to focus on my music.
Yeah, I tell you, it's got to be. I mean, just with songwriting and then performing, and then you're in 2 bands, and then keeping up on social media, of course, now too.
Oh yeah, that's a lot. There's a lot of expectations of things behind the scenes that have nothing to do with music. It's all marketing and business and a ton of things that also take up all the time.
A big time suck, as they like to say.
Yeah.
How did classical training shape your style in metal?
Um, I think it has everything to do with it. Really, I, um, I mean, classical music was my foundation, and I love to write the orchestras, and I take a very classical approach to it. And studying piano, piano's the instrument that I'm most fluent in, and I can just kind of sit down and play, and I don't have to think about it as much. So it's kind of the vehicle that my songs can come out in. So it's definitely the foundation. And I discovered metal a little bit later. It was not what I listened to growing up. I was, a bit older when I actually discovered metal and realized that it resonated with me and with what I was writing my songs about. And in fact, my songs, a lot of the friends I would show them to would say, "Oh, that's too dark of a subject," or "I don't like that song. It's not happy enough," or whatever. And for a while, I thought, "Oh, I'm just a bad songwriter," but really, it was that it my words and my themes and what I was writing about just needed a heavier music to it. So once I discovered metal, I discovered there was this thing called symphonic metal where you could have the orchestras and the classical singing and all of this stuff. It just kind of clicked.
Were your
And that's
parents
what it was.
classically trained?
Not at all. My dad played the trumpet a little bit, well, he's pretty good, but that's about it. But my brother and I were both musical, and my parents put me in piano when I was little, and it clicked with me, and I loved it, so they supported it. But they are not really very musical, and my brother, he doesn't do it anymore. So it's kind of I'm on my own.
Yeah, so you said you discovered metal later. Was it a friend? Was it a record you heard, or a band, or a concert you went to?
Really, it was joining the band AnaDies. because they were kind of a hard rock band to start with, and kind of got into metal, and we were described as like atmospheric metal at some point. But when I joined that band, I had no idea anything about the genre. I had never been to a show at a bar. I'd never even really gone to concerts or even listened to very much rock or metal music. So I joined the band and was playing with them, and they were showing me all of the music they liked. And that was about the time that bands like Evanescence were getting big, and Lacuna Coil. And so those two bands were really kind of the biggest influences when I was in that band. And we actually opened for Within Temptation when they came through in 2007, when they were just kind of breaking into the USA market. And of course, I had never heard of them, but just really got into their music at that point. So it's really just being in the scene and learning and hanging out with people. And we played with a lot of really heavy bands. In Colorado, there was not a lot of I don't know what you call it. There was not symphonic metal. There were very few bands that had girls in them, even. There's a lot of death metal, really. So a lot of the bands we hung out with were death metal. And I started dating someone who was in a death metal band. So really just listening to his music, and then me listening to his CDs really opened, I guess, widened my horizons, and just found that I really loved metal.
Nightwish, another influence on you?
Yeah, definitely. Um, a little bit uh, after I started to get into the symphonic metal, then I discovered Nightwish, and of course, I love them so much. Everything they've done, I've really loved, and uh, a lot of people will compare my music to Nightwish in the reviews, or uh, people that message me or whatever. They'll say it sounds just like Nightwish, and your voice sounds like Talia, and uh, so I mean that's a real compliment to me, because I really love what they do.
Yeah, I have a lot of symphonic metal bands on the Metal Queens podcast here, and recently too, and especially from Europe, of course, and no surprise, Nightwish, Amy Lee from Evanescence, big influences on those bands. But we've had, and we have a lot coming up, a lot of symphonic metal bands, including Talia here on the Metal Queens podcast. You've worked with different producers now. How do you choose a collaborator who can bring your vision to life?
That is the biggest question, right?
Mm.
That I've tried to figure out over the past 5 years, really. Um, when Beyond Forgiveness started recording, we didn't know what we were going to do. We went to some local people to mix. We always recorded ourselves at home, and then we went to people to mix. And it was very hard to find people when we were doing our first recording. And we were contacted by somebody from the Czech Republic. His name's Jarek Musil. And he said, "Hey, I want to try mixing your music, and we'll do a test mix." And, we said, "Sure, why not?" And what he delivered was so great. It felt like, wow, he really understands what we're trying to do with the orchestras and with the style. And um, so we worked with him for our first EP and our first two full length albums. Um, and after we released Live to Tell the Story, was in 2019, he had contacted us about producing. So really what we had done is we wrote the songs, we recorded them, we sent it to him, and he did that, the mixing and the sounds and everything, and the mastering. But he wanted to work with us to produce the song, from the beginning, and really help shape the sound. And at the time, the band wasn't interested in that. And I was. So I said, "Hey, why don't you try one of my songs?" And my solo songs, a lot of them I wrote many years ago, and they just kind of sit in a notebook or on my computer, and I never really pursued it very much. And some of them I brought into the band, but really most of it just is kind of my own private thing. But I gave him one of my songs, and he came back with something that was just blew me away, and that was my song Angel, that I released it in 2020 on SoundCloud. Just, I put it out there. But then it got me thinking, I have all these songs, and if a producer can make it sound this good and really bring it to life, the way that I had hoped it could be, then why don't I do more of this? And so I picked an album's worth of songs, and we started working on some of them. And in the process, just trying different things, like how, do I get musicians from here that are my friends? I tried that, and then he was producing some of them completely, and then I was trying even local producers that I was talking to, and I probably in the past 5 years, I've probably worked with maybe 15 different people, and not everything turned out. So the ones that I've released as singles, especially on this album, Beautiful, is kind of a compilation of some of these standalone singles with all these people that I worked with, and the songs that worked out and I really loved, and the collaborations were productive. I wanted to put them all together because they were just kind of here and there. But in the process, I found working with Frank Pitters, who's in Austria, that it really worked out well. And he knew how to approach my songs and bring them to life the way I wanted. And so that's when we went ahead and did the full Oceans album. And he also has recorded my next album, which is not really announced or released, but there will be another one coming soon. We've finished recording the next one.
Let's stay on Oceans for a moment, the full-length album. It's themed around water and emotions. How did the nautical concept guide your songwriting and messaging?
So it didn't actually guide it. It was more that I had already written these songs at different times in my life. And when I started my solo project, I wasn't writing new. I was basically going into my collection of songs and deciding which to get produced. And I had maybe 15 songs that I had wanted to do as an album uh, many years ago and just didn't do. And I realized it was too many songs. And um, so I had to take some out. And there were several that had that ocean theme. And so I removed them from that other collection. And then I went through my notebook and said, I have a lot of songs that the lyrics have these metaphors of the ocean or islands or um, depths of the waters or whatever it is. And so I brought them together into the album.
Did you always know that you were a pretty good songwriter? Did you always enjoy songwriting?
I've always enjoyed writing. I wrote poems in high school and I composed music, not necessarily together. And I think it was in college I started writing the songs because I felt like when I write poems, I hear the melodies in my head. So I'm already singing them. So maybe they should be songs. And I didn't necessarily think that they were going to be any good. I didn't show a lot of them to people. And I just wrote because I had a passion for it. And I did show a few to some people. And, of course, they're like, oh, that's not very good or whatever. And so I was shy, I guess, about sharing it. Um, but then my mindset was if you write enough songs, eventually one will be good. So I just let myself write whatever I wanted to write and however often I wanted to write. And then eventually it became my way of just processing my life too. Whatever was going on with me, whatever I was feeling, emotions, circumstances, um, it that's what most of my songs became. And so it was never a matter of I'm trying to write a song for a commercial release where I'm going to put it on an album and try to sell it to people and have them like it and become popular off of it. It's always been um, this is just what I'm thinking about and feeling and how I can process things that maybe are too difficult to think about literally. I can have a metaphor and a melody and um, express myself that way.
Your recent lyric video single, Beautiful, came with the CD, as I mentioned in the introduction, full of the rare tracks. You were touching on it earlier, and acoustic versions. What inspired that release format, and what was your vision for that lyric video?
Yeah, I guess I didn't ever really intend to do this CD, but when with Oceans being released and marketed, and I'm working with a team of professionals to market it, we got to a point where they said, you really should release this as a single. And so we were going to do a video and promotions. And I said, well, if I'm going to do that, and when it's already on an album and I'm going to release it as a single, let's make a CD, make it a CD single, like have something to offer to say, it's not just, hey, here's another video, but really here's something that we can offer with it. And I have all of these songs that were standalone singles before the album, and they were only released digitally. So if someone wanted a copy of Abandon or Whispers in the Storm or any of those singles, they can't get it on a CD anywhere. And also I had 2 other singles that were supposed to be released before the album, but timing wise and everything, they just kind of got overrun by my album. So it's like, how am I going to release these standalone singles now at this point? So it was really just a matter of, I want to share all of this music and put it out there, and it made sense to me to try to put it all together on a CD. That way all of my stuff is available not only digitally but in a physical format too.
All right, let's
So it was really it was like in a span of maybe a month that we decided to do the CD, and then it's out. So it was definitely last minute, but I mean, it came together and it was amazing. Even the CD company sent it ahead of time, faster than expected, and it all just came together really well.
All right, let's transition and segue to the latest project with the symphonic metal band Beyond Forgiveness. The new album is out now. I want to ask you about a couple of songs. Cold as Winter's Ice, the title track, and also Drown in Your Promises. Let's start with Cold as Winter's Ice. What's that song about, and how are you the main lyricist for this band?
Yes. Now, so both myself and our rhythm guitarist Richard wrote lyrics, but I usually write the main lyrics, and then he comes behind that and writes the heavy vocals to go with what I've written. Uh, there were a couple songs early when it was when I joined the band, that he had maybe 2 or 3 songs that he'd already started. So there's one song that is completely his lyrics, but most of it is mine. So yeah, Cold as Winter's Ice. You asked about what's that about, and it was really about somebody screwing us over. And we had somebody who was online trying to make us look bad and stuff, and trying to get money from us, and just causing all sorts of problems. And so we were resolving that problem, but at the time I was like, man, this guy is just like cold like winter's ice. And the guys said, hey, that's a really cool song title, you should write a song about that. So that was the inspiration behind the song. But when I developed the lyrics, it was really broader and just kind of a more general concept of, when people just kind of burn you, or, well, I guess freeze you with, being mean and hateful and whatever. And then, trying to keep your heart open, even in that situation.
And Drown in Your Promises? What's the story behind that one?
Yeah, that's about being betrayed, I guess, or when somebody makes promises and then they're just empty, and it's that cycle of you get your hopes up, and like you just really believe that person, and then they don't come through, and it's like that emotional roller coaster. It kind of felt like the cycle of rains and storms and floods. It's like you get all taken in by this person, and you have all your hopes and dreams wrapped up in that, and then you get swept away and in the floods, and then you I don't know. It's that whole, just the cycle of rains and floods, and then it dries up and evaporates, and it starts all over again.
So we got screwed over on one of the tracks and then betrayal on this one. Is there an overarching theme on this album?
It really is. And in fact, when we started writing the album, it was during COVID, and I brought in 3 concepts actually for albums, and the one that we really resonated most with was this idea a wilderness. And so the song Wilderness is the last track on the album. And it was kind of the first song that was inspired the whole theme of the album. So it's like about things, a barren wasteland of emotions and thoughts and whatnot. Like you're wandering through all of these things that just kind of spin your life into craziness. You know, there's a song on there about just things that happen that you can't even comprehend. It's called No Reasons. Like, there, how do you deal with things that occur that like you never could have even imagined in life that would happen? So yeah, it's pretty dark. It's pretty heavy. It's definitely our most intense album yet. Uh, Not a lot of happiness, you know, but it deals with things that are real. You know, I mean, it deals with love and you know, like good things, but that are deep and you know, it's not light listening. That's for sure.
The album called This Winter's Ice, Beyond Forgiveness, that is out now. So, shows and any touring plans coming up? Shows in Colorado this fall?
Um, I have shows with my solo project, and I have shows with OB NIXILIS. Locally in Colorado, we usually play Colorado Springs, Denver, Pueblo. Those, you know, the Front Range of the mountains is kind of there's a lot of cities there within, you know, a couple hours distance, so we do a lot there. And Beyond Forgiveness will be headed to Texas for the Southwest Power Fest in El Paso on September 20th. And we're super excited about that. It's the first year of that festival, but some really cool bands on there. We're very excited.
Yeah, and that's again September 20th for that one in El Paso.
Yeah.
Have you played any of these songs live yet from the new album?
No, this will be the first one actually, because we had some shows when the album we'd finished recording, and we had some shows, but we were saving them. You know, we don't like to play the shows, play the songs live till they've been released. So we've been sitting on this for a little while, and we're just so excited to play the new stuff. We're getting tired of the old songs. You
Yeah.
know, want to play the new. So we're very happy to be getting that out there now.
What's the best thing about performing live?
For me, I've always loved it most. Like, I love connecting with the other musicians. I love connecting with the audiences, having a good time, expressing the music. Uh, Live performance was always, I guess, the top thing for me. When I was in school, I would join all of the ensembles and um, of all the aspects of music. I mean, obviously, I love the songwriting now, but the live performance was really where it was at for me. I didn't even want to go to a performance of somebody else if I wasn't gonna eventually be on stage myself. It's very hard for me to attend a show and not be performing. Um, I've always just felt at home on the stage.
Well, you can get updates on where Talia will be and great content too on her website, taliahoit.com, Instagram, Talia_Hoit, Hoit. And she's got merch too at taliahoit.bandcamp.com. So support them. And also, you can check out Beyond Forgiveness on Instagram as well. They'll be at that festival in El Paso in September. The new album is out now, and so much more to come from Talia Hoit in the future.
There is, yeah.
Well, thank you for joining me, Talia.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's been great to talk to you. I appreciate you having me. It's a great podcast. I love seeing all of the amazing people that you've had on here. So
Thank
thank you
you.
for including me.
Thank you. Appreciate that. And like it, share it, subscribe to it. Thanks for watching. I'm Steve Richards.